Storware Backup and Recovery is a single solution that covers a wide range of sources. That includes virtual machines, Office 365, applications, storage instances, and so on. In this video, I'm going to show you how easy it is to deploy Storware Backup and Recovery using OVA images. OVA images can be easily downloaded from our FTP server. Now, once you have downloaded it, you can either put it in some local FTP HTTP server in your local network, or use your local computer and upload it directly from your computer. Let's start by using the vSphere client. This is a web tool offered already by the vCenter, and you just need to click Deploy OVF Template. And I'm going to choose local file in this case. I have already downloaded this image to my desktop. And you click Next. Now, you need to specify the name, Storware-52, and you need to specify where you would like to place a virtual appliance. I'm going to specify dedicated resource pool. It's not obligatory, but I'm just selecting a dedicated place for it. And now I'm going to specify the few configuration parameters. So let's start with the license agreement. Obviously, you need to accept. This is the Storware license agreement. Then I'm going to specify data store where I would like to keep both my OS drive, and there is actually additional drive that is configured already for deduplicated backup destination storage along with the staging space. Now, usually you would choose probably fig provisioned if you would like to have a dedicated storage space, but in my case, because it's a demo, I'm going to specify thin provisioned. And I'm going to put it in the LAN network. Virtual machine allows to use DHCP, so I don't have to put the values in here, but you may optionally specify exact values that are specific for your network. And you click Finish, which starts the deployment process. This may take a while because the data needs to be transferred and all of the required disks are going to be allocated. So let's wait until it completes. The OVA image has successfully been deployed, so now we can proceed with the configuration. So first of all, let's have a look what's inside this image. Notice that by default it has 4 vCPUs and 6 gigs of memory, and that's suitable for most of the deployments. Remember that OVA typically covers all-in-one installations, and if you want to extend it for further nodes, they always can be added later using the RPM packages, for instance. Now, it also comes with pre-configured free hard drives. So first one obviously is for the operating system, and 2 others are by default 200 gigs for the backup destinations repository. So both of them are going to be file system backup destination. One of them is dedicated for cloud, so for Office 365. One, it has the duplication and video for typical virtual machines workload that you would like to protect. The values can be increased, but remember that once you have done that, you will also have to expand the XFS file system for cloud, and you also have to remember that video needs to be expanded. Both of these are specified in the documentations. So let's power on our virtual appliance now. And we are going to use the remote console to configure networking first. Okay, so we are using default password for the appliance and root access account. So root and vprotect with the capital P and 0. Now we are going to run the nm2 interface to configure our only network adapter. If you wish to have multiple adapters, you may also add that from your hypervisor level and later configure different networking. However, we need to be able to reach both hypervisors or Office 365, so internet connectivity, as well as your backup destination, whatever it is. By default, it's file system, but remember that you can add more in the future. So here, remember that you have the default configuration using the automatic network assignment. You may want to specify different IP address. And verify that you have it configured on your network interfaces. So in my case, it's going to be 10.43.221, which has been assigned automatically by DHCP, but you need to adjust that to your networking. So we are going to use root account, vprotect, and I have logged in. So now one more thing, remember I have set about 2 drives. We have vprotect data, which also is being used by the staging space as well, and this is deduplicated, so that is why it has 600 gigs. It has the duplication enabled, and we also have the vprotect cloud, which is a dedicated file system, plain XFS for the M365 agent in this case. The values needs to be increased, and notice that in the docs there are steps what needs to be done in order to increase video. Now let's log into the web console. By default, there is a single self-signed certificate inside this image, but you may want to adjust that to your need. You may switch to your own custom certificate if you need to. And I'm using default credentials. It's admin and vprotect. Again, capital P, all lowercase, but P is capital and 0. You may want us to have a short overview using the initial tour, so that you may want later to have an easier understanding what is where inside the user interface. So remember about this configuration wizard button, it's very important. And you have sections for virtual environments, storage, Microsoft 365, so cloud section, applications if you have custom apps, optionally endpoints. You may want to attach that later in the future with the Storware endpoints extension. And here at the bottom there is a button for task console, so everything is going to be shown there. Logs, if something goes wrong, it's a first place to gather all of the logs from the both of the node and server, and that's pretty much it. So we can disable the initial tour, and we may want to run a configuration wizard now. Before I do that, I'll show you one thing. Configuration wizard obviously covers several steps, several important steps, such as creating the backup destinations, connecting to your source, and so on. But in the backup destination section, you already have this file system and file system for cloud backup destinations already configured for you. It means that this step is already done, so you may want to skip that and check out the details. Both of them are synthetic. This one uses vprotect data /backup, so it's a subfolder on the deduplicated file system, and the other one uses vprotect cloud. Both of them are synthetic. Now, inside the virtual environment, I have no infrastructure components defined. So that's one of the first steps that we want to do. And I also see that internal database backup is not configured yet. Now let's run configuration wizard. First, you need to activate your license key. So with the license file that you have already received in your email, you have to download it to your computer, and later you can apply it in this wizard. And obviously one of the steps is to accept all of the license agreements. In my case, I'm going to change the time zone for the one that I'm currently in. And you can choose optionally the language. I'll leave the English one. In order to configure all of the aspects, you may need to have a running node, especially to run inventory synchronization. So I have one node already assigned. This is by default inside this appliance. It's already connected and pre-configured for you. Now I'm going to connect to VMware. But as you can see, the list of the potential sources is quite large, and I'm going to click next. And now I'm typing in the URL to my vCenter. Now I click next. And I need to specify node configuration. In this case, I have already one defined, but if you have more nodes in the future, then you may want to have the same configuration for all of your nodes. I'll click create. And I may want to enqueue inventory synchronization process, which I really encourage you to do right now, because it's going to connect to vCenter and gather all of the necessary information, such as virtual machines, clusters, and so on. Notice that task has already started, so the node connects to the vCenter and currently fetches all of the information. We can proceed with the another step in the meantime. Backup destinations is something we can skip because we already have available 2 file systems, but you may want to add more. And we also need to have some backup SLAs. We also have predefined backup SLAs and schedules inside the backup appliance, so we can skip this step for now. And now notice that there is an initial configuration for the database. So we can go and choose the default configuration. We can choose the file system for our internal database, and specify retention, schedule, and I can click finish. So this is already prepared instance. Now a few more things, because you may want also to add your sources manually. So inside the virtual environments or any other section, you have usually the infrastructure tab. So notice that I already have my vCenter in here, but usually you could click create in here, specify the type like I have did for my vCenter, and provide the same details directly using single screen. Once you have provided the details, notice that I also may have additional settings, so it's worth to click in this place as well, or maybe define it manually. I may provide more advanced sophisticated settings directly from here, and later I can run inventory synchronization, a button on the right. Inventory synchronization has completed, so we can see a green dot at the bottom. So now we have collected all of the information related to the virtual machines, clusters, storage, and so on. So you can browse through different tabs, and notice that in the instances view I see more instances. So remember about having a proper permissions on the cluster, so that the account that you are using to connect your hypervisor manager is able to list all of the necessary records. So I'm going now to go to the backup SLAs. Notice that I have production VEs already defined, and it has schedules both for full and incremental. You can adjust them to your needs, but they are predefined for you, so you don't have to do that on your own. If you need to, you can go to the create button and create your own policy, or you may specify the details in the existing one and assign policy to your environment. This is essential to have the backup process working, because we need to have a proper backup destination configuration, retention settings, and so on already assigned. So I'm going to select one of the virtual machines already available in my environment. The rule actually specifies the details where the backups are going to be stored and retention. You may also want to adjust this part as well. If you would like to automatically assign virtual machines to your policy, auto assignment section is the one that you may be interested in, and you may define different set of rules. Now in the schedules, you may also customize the schedules. So here is the schedule for full backups. When does it occur? At which time? And incremental. Incremental schedule is important because if you would like to perform incremental backups, it is important to leave the previous snapshots on the virtual environments. While for VMware it's not entirely true because we use CBT, but there are some platforms which require snapshot to be left for future incrementals. And incremental schedule is an indicator that basically your intention is to leave this snapshot for future incremental backups. Now let's go back to the instances and choose the VMs. Notice that it has backup status that backup is outdated. So now we can invoke backup. This time is going to be full, so let's just perform full one. Backup task has been submitted. And the backup process has started. Wrapping up, we have successfully deployed OVA image. It has been deployed in our vCenter environment, but we also have appliances for other platforms as well. Notice that we have prepared the image so that it has both the duplicated storage and non-deduplicated storage for the Microsoft 365. We've prepared backup destinations, we've prepared policies, and already installed Server Plus Node in a single virtual appliance form. Using that as the starting point, you can later initiate or expand to other platforms, other backup destinations types, and with additional nodes so that you are able to cover larger environments. I really encourage you to download OVA image because it's the simplest way to implement Storware backup and recovery. Connect to your infrastructure and check out how your data can be easily protected. Thank you for watching.